Hi everybody, I have got to change my knives this morning. I have been cutting pastures and my oat field, and that does not need to have sharp knives, and so I put on an old set of knives. But now as I go into July, the good grass is a little bit tougher to cut in early June, and all through June grass cuts really easy, but as you go into July it does seem to cut quite a bit harder, so I like to have really good knives. So this is my new set that I'm going to put on. It's all brand new teeth. We replaced them all. The new ones come with rivets, but if you just knock the rivets out, and the new ones that I put on come with bolts, so you can just bolt them right on. I made the mistake of letting this section sit next to the barn overnight. Got a little bit rusty, but it'll clean up. So to take the cutter bar, the sections out, all I need is this punch right here. So I take off the nut. A lot of times people will have a wing nut here, which is a lot easier than just a regular nut. I put it in my pocket. And very carefully take the rod out and let this down very slowly. This rod right here, when you're mowing, goes right in that latch. I'll get a closer look here so you can see how I do it. So I'm in the front of the cutter bar, but the horses are tied, so I'm perfectly safe. You take the pitman rod and slide it back here a little ways. You'll see there's a hole right there. If I position that punch in that hole and press down my foot, that will drop that down. Here was the hole right here. That would drop that down. So all I gotta do now is press it with my foot again. And sometimes it will lock right in place. It's not doing it for me today. So I push down my fingers, push down the foot, and that will usually pop right out of there, just like that. So now that's free, and very carefully push the cutter bar back, my fingers a little bit, and I come around the other side, hold the pitman rod up. I should be able to grab that cutter bar and easily pull it out by hand. So here's the old set of knives. Put that one there. Pretty beat up. Some are serrated, some are smoothed. That has been used for a while. So very carefully now, we will slide the new one in, holding the pitman up. And it should slide right in quite easy. I know at times over the years I've had it pretty snug with those hold downs. Now I feel that I want it loose, and it works so much better. So I have hardly any pressure on those hold downs at all. I'm very particular with my knives. I want my cutter bars sharp. I will sharpen them a few times sometimes, but I don't do it too much. I just replace all the knives. By replacing the knives as opposed to buying a whole new section is a lot cheaper. So I just like to have them sharp, so I just replace them all. So cutter bars in place. Now it's just a matter of putting the pitman back on the ball. So that's over the head of the ball. You can just actually push down like that. It snaps right in place, the first part. Now I can usually just take my fingers, my thumb on this end, my fingers back here, and flip that right in place. It's very easy. There's not a lot of, it's not tight. So that's that. Now I'm going to show you once again the I told you earlier when I was cutting oats that I raised these shoes so the cutter bar was off the ground. I mean, you'll see it's 4 inches here off the ground. But now I'm going back to cutting good hay, and I want it closer, so it's just a matter of, I keep this very, very, very tight because this just slides in place, and if it's not tight, you can easily lose it. So now I let that drop down. There's 3 holes there, but I am going to, I don't know. I almost need to drop it 1 more hole and tighten it up really good. So now I'll do the inner shoe. This one does not have a slide, it's just holes. There's 4 holes in that. I'll go down to the second to last. Put my nut back on, we're good to go. I'll grease it up and head to the field. Okay, time to go mow some hay. Okay, the mower works great. I've had a few people ask me about collars, so I'm going to swap subjects right now, and we'll go back to a little bit of talking I did about putting sweat pads on and about my collars on my horses. Hi everybody, we have some nice well-needed showers coming in today. I hope the noise from the rain doesn't stop you from hearing what I have to say about collars. I just got some new sweat pads for my collars, and I've been asked about how to go about fitting collars to a horse. So I wanted to talk to you about that. To start with, this sweat pad here has been on quite a while. And as you can see, it's starting to wrinkle up here a little bit. It's starting to rip here a little bit. And it's important not to let these sweat pads on too long because they'll start getting sore shoulders from that. Wrinkled up down here pretty good. Some of mine are even worse than this. But I'm going to replace this one. I'm going to replace all 4 of them. I like to do all of them at once, at least for each team, so they're consistent, so the next time I'll replace them all at the same time. So we have Lady here today, and when you're brushing your horses, or when I'm brushing my horses, I'm always looking at the shoulders to make sure there's no blemishes, to make sure there's no sore spots, make sure nothing's wrong. Sometimes I can just go by feel. If there's a little bit of wrinkling there, I feel it, so I watch out for that closely. So let's start with her collar. Her collar is a 26-inch collar. To measure a collar, if I take the sweat pad off, which I'll do, just 3 clips on both sides. That's the old collar, old sweat pad. So to measure a collar, you have to remember, when a collar is brand new, they tend to be quite a bit narrower, and as the horse works in them, they tend to spread out quite a bit. Lady, being a mare, tends to have a smaller neck, narrower neck than a gelding, so it's, but still over time, it's spread out. But this is a 26-inch collar, I'm sure of that, and it shows 25 and a half right there. That means it's spread out that much. If you were to push right there, squeeze that together, you can get the more accurate 26 inches, which is what she is. I'm going to tell you some things that I do. I have horses that do a lot of different things, and I guess a lot of the things I'm going to tell you might not be, definitely won't be the same way that a lot of other people do it. It's not even a textbook
way of doing things. I realize that different places around the world, especially, are totally different than the way we are here in the States. But even here, there's a big variation. A lot of people have different ideas as to how they want their collars to fit on a horse. I'm not saying I have the correct way. I'm just showing you the way that I do it and have done it for years, and it's worked good for me. I guess you have to keep in mind that I do a lot of different things. I farm with my horses. I log with my horses. I take mine to horse pulls sometimes. So because of that, each of those things you actually fit your collar a little bit differently for. So I have to come up with that happy medium that works best for me. So this is Lady with a 26-inch collar. Most people recommend 2 inches larger sweat pad. I like to have a 3-inch largest sweat pad. I like to have a collar on a horse that's maybe bigger than most people would. I'm very intentional on having my draft right on their shoulders. So if your collar is too small, you just can't seem to get that draft where I personally would like it. So I tend to go with a little bit bigger collar than some people will, and I'll actually go with 3 inches longer sweat pad. That will bring the bottom down there tighter. So anyways, I'm going to put this together. So that sweat pad is almost touching down here. And I'm going to put it on her shoulders and you'll see how snug it is.
Tight, lady. Hang on. Hang on. Oh. That's where I want it. That puts the draft up here where I want it. If that collar was smaller and tighter here, it'd bring that draft too high.
As I'm looking at that collar with this video at that angle, it looks too small, but it really isn't. It looks good right there.
Okay, that's Lady.
So now let's get Buck and I'll show you his collar. I'm really not much of a teacher or a talker. I get my words all mumbled up sometimes. You'll notice I call Buck Bill twice and I have the wrong dimensions on the collar a couple times, so I apologize for that. I came back after the rain stopped so you could hear me better.
Hi everybody, I'm here with Bill this morning. Just got the new sweat pads. These old sweat pads have been here for I'm not sure how many years, been on my collars for quite some time. So I'm going to swap them. I've got 4, I got one for each horse. For the 2 black horses I have these red ones because they kind of go nice with my newer harnesses that I have on them. So I do like the red ones for that, and the other ones just have black ones. Bill has been with me for a long time. This has been his collar ever since he's been here. And you can see it's starting to get kind of ripe. Some spots there getting bad. Got a spot right here, it's getting bad. This here is pretty bad. But old Buck is getting kind of old. He's definitely over 20. He's been a great horse. His days of working probably aren't too much longer, and he'll maybe go out to retire. So if he was younger, I would be getting another collar for him, and as tough as he is, he may still be such that I'll have to get another collar. But for right now, I'll keep the same collar. This is a, I always thought it was a 26-inch collar, but I'm starting to think it's a 27 now. As these collars get older, they tend to spread quite a bit, and so it's hard to measure for sure accurately. But I'll take the sweat pad off. This is a 29-inch sweat pad. I can still see the writing on it, and it's getting pretty bad. It's pretty well shot. This is by far my worst collar. The top doesn't even have it. It isn't even set up very well. I've just got a piece of cord there holding it together. Of course, after you get the sweat pad on, it doesn't matter. But the inside is still pretty good. But I've always thought this was a 26-inch collar. And if you were to measure it, it actually does measure 26 inches. But it's also spread a lot. So I'm quite confident by the size of that sweat pad in this collar of knowing if this was, when this was new, it would have been a lot closer together like that. So it's actually a 27-inch collar. Most people will put in a sweat pad that's 2 inches longer. So if this was a 27, they would use the 29-inch sweat pad. I personally prefer it 3 inches longer. So this is a 30-inch pad, and that's why I know this is a 26-inch collar, because of how that 29-inch sweat pad fit in here. So anyways, I'm going to put this in. When the pads are 3 inches longer than the collar, they come pretty close to the bottoms, touching each other. So that's what it looks like. I always buy the extra wide sweat pads. Just a preference of mine. My collars also tend to be a little bit larger than maybe a lot of people would have. Let's put the collar on Buck, and I'll show you how it sits on his shoulders. All of my harnessing generally is in the stall itself. I like to do that because I'll come out in the morning sometimes, I'll harness them all up, and I'll go back and eat, and it's just easier than bringing them out and putting them back in. It's just they're right in place. But for this, for you to be able to see good, I thought I'd try it out here. So he's not used to getting his collar on out here. We'll see how he goes.
Every horse is different, so when you're fitting collars, you need to just adjust it to their special needs. And you'll see that Buck's collar is bigger than Lady's collar was on her, but that's the way it works best for them.
So let's just see a close-up. A lot of people would think the collar is actually too big for him, but I like it this way. I can put my hand down there and there's still plenty of room there, but if you were to, I just can't show you very good with this camera. Let me sit right there. When he's pulling or pushing, this collar is going to be tight against his shoulders. And when that's tight against his shoulders, I still can get my hand in there. Now, if I didn't have that much room, and when he started pulling, if the collar was too small, it'd actually choke him right here, and you don't want that. So that's why we want to have a collar that's big enough for him. If you were to watch in my videos, quite often I'll show close-ups of my horses in their collars, and so you can get a better feel as to how what size they are on the horses.
Well, I hope this video has been helpful to some of you. I hope you have a great day. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave your comments down below. My wife answers a lot of the comments because she has a better way with words than I do, and she enjoys that. But she always asks my advice as to what to say.